Glovebox Live's Nick John interviews Sean Taylor.
You know they're right down here, right time it all ran out. Ain't nothing left of this old place since it all burned down. Witnesses were called, but they were already dead. I drugged on Wi-Fi phones and our television set so...
It's a cold, wet, windy February night outside in Oxford, but we're snug and cosy downstairs in the dressing rooms at the old fire station, and tonight I'm with folk troubadour Sean Taylor. Welcome, Sean.
Hello, good to be here.
You've been here before.
I have, yeah, I was here about a year ago.
Great.
So it's nice to be back.
But
lovely
since then, you've got a new album out. Flood
I
and Burn.
do. It's called Flood and Burn. Thank you for reminding me.
Well, I ought to get that bit right before.
Yeah, it's called Flood and Burn, and it's been out about 3 weeks, and very nice response. Played on radio too quite a lot. Paul Jones has picked it up, and
Excellent.
Huey Morgan, and yeah, it was recorded in Austin. And
that's Huey Morgan out of Fun Loving Criminals.
It is indeed. Good guy.
That's cool. That's
He is
interesting
cool. He's
because
very cool.
I was going to ask you about your styles and how people view you and how we pigeonhole and things like this. Now, Fun Loving Criminals is an interesting side, but there are elements of their music that I can hear in you. And
Okay,
it's interesting.
that's interesting. Yeah, I like what they do. I like folk. I mean, blues is probably where I'm closest to, but folk is also in there. Rock and roll is in there. Recently, been listening to a lot of African
You've done
music.
Heartbreak Hotel.
Yeah, I think I might start with that tonight. I was mucking around with that, so kind of nice warming up one. But yeah, I love pretty much every kind of music. Even stuff like heavy metal. When I listen to it, I kind of get interested. It makes me feel kind of inspired in a weird way. So I'm not heavy metal, but I like listening to all kinds of stuff. Even hip hop, I enjoy. So.
Yeah, so I don't always agree with what Bob Harris says, but he said reminiscent of John Martin.
Ah, bless him.
And
Could be worse.
Yeah, I've got to totally agree with that. I think I think you have similarities in your vocal style, things like that.
Thank you.
And the guitar playing and everything. I think it's a good comparison to make, obviously. But.
Yeah, I mean, when I started, John Martin was like the guy who I just thought was God, and I still do, obviously. But I think very quickly I realised that I needed to get my own sound because there's a lot of people who've tried to be like John Martin, and I think it's just failed. So I very quickly had to sort of go and find my own voice, really. Yeah. And I got very into people like Tom Waits. Tom Waits is a massive influence.
You've got these elements of jazz in your music, isn't there?
It's creeping in. Frighteningly, it's creeping in. I got a jazz chord book recently, and it's a scary old thing. But the last album it has creeped in, which is I'm glad because I think the blues thing was I can do it and I've done it for a long time, but you can get stuck a bit as a songwriter if you just do blues. I love blues, but when you want to write different kinds of songs, you need to step out of that. I think someone like Robert Cray does that well. He's blues, but he's got a lot of soul in there. Eric Bibb, same thing. They've got different influences coming in. So blues is a starting point for me. Jazz, I'm getting more into.
Baby steps. Wide thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I hate some jazz,
but
some of it I love.
I started with like Dixieland. It was kind of the only thing I could hear a tune in and a melody.
Right.
And then after a while I just went, no, I can't do this, and I started getting, kind of blue Miles Davis and so on and so on.
Right.
And yeah, it's like opening a door and very tentatively poking your head round, but then saying, okay, I can do this, moving it wide.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Keith Jarrett's the guy I really love. His solo stuff, but that's kind of jazz and then kind of country and kind of all kinds of stuff. So.
Could never understand the cruelty of man. Could never understand the cruelty of man.
You're a very prolific songwriter. You've done eight albums in 10 years.
Absolutely.
I mean, it takes Def Leppard 5 years to just get their drum sound. So
that's because he's got one arm, isn't it? Yeah, he's got
good
one arm.
point. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
he's got one arm, right? Keep going. So.
But eight albums in 10 years. I mean, That's almost the old business model. That's what
Yeah.
bands used to do, isn't it? An album a year kind of thing. So.
I hope I can. I mean,
Is this because you write a lot of songs?
Yeah, I've got hundreds of songs I've never touched that could be recorded today. I just write all the time. I've recently kind of gone right back into sort of the core of songwriting. Look, I mean, it's funny. I was talking to someone recently, and they were saying, go into a music shop, and you'll find sort of 1,000 books on how to play ukulele, but there'll be one on writing songs. And songwriting as an art, I think, unfortunately, has been forgotten about. Thankfully, there's great songwriters in genres like Americana, blues. There are, but there's a lot of blues players just doing, which is okay. But I mean, for me, I just love songs. Always have. I was writing songs before I played guitar or sung. I was trying to write songs, trying to write lyrics, trying to copy. I was into Oasis when I was a kid. They were the first band I listened to, and I was just copying the lyrics, trying to create a melody, a hook, and something that I could just. So yeah, I love writing songs. It's the one thing out of everything I love the most, and I could kind of. I mean, yeah, you just walk down the street and you write things down, see things, different names of shops, different names of restaurants, different everything, and it's all songs.
This is a classic writerly technique. You've got a little notebook that you jot down things.
Well, I've got a mobile phone actually that I text myself, and my greatest fear is I'm going to text the wrong number one day, and they're going to get some pretty screwed up things that are going on in my head. So
in my day we used to run home. We had to find a cassette and the cassette recorder and put it on. Now you can do it instantly.
Phone,
Absolutely, yeah. That's good. And you write poetry as well.
I've done one. I love poetry.
Well, I've got to mention River off Chase the Night.
That took 5 years to write.
I was going to ask you something. There's a lot of words, a lot of verses.
It took 5 years. There was a lot that were taken out as well.
Yeah. Did you write that as a piece, as a spoken word piece? Shall we
Absolutely,
say,
yeah.
Before and then put the music to it. Was it an idea like this could work? Spoken word with the music, or did they still come together in the form of a song?
I had a story about kind of a night in London, kind of starting out. It was kind of loosely based on my own kind of late teens, early 20s, going out in London and going to raves in Brixton. I used to do that a lot when I was in. I used to go to these nightclubs and just stay up all night, and it's kind of loosely based on that. And it's a story almost of travelling to the rave and then going to the rave and then feeling not so well after. And it's all the kind of things of London. And it took 5 years to write. And I don't know, a few people have said, oh God, you got to do that again, and I'm thinking, well, it's hard. For me, I'm a songwriter really. Poetry's a big influence. I like what Kate Tempest is doing. She's doing some cool stuff. I heard she did a thing recently about Europe that I really liked. I'm
tempted to go and see it.
Yeah, I don't know very well.
Radio 4 and stuff, but you're right. There's something, and she's definitely sort of breaking down walls and things.
Absolutely, I don't know her very well, but someone sent me something the other day, and I thought that's really cool, and because it was just different, and it was real, and it was alive, and she has her own voice and her own references, and as a songwriter, that's always what I've looked for. And she's more of a poet, but she's taken it and added it to music and stuff.
Well, I mean, poetry's not a thing. I mean, my kids would, say, do you want to go to a poetry evening? They'd look at me like, you're having a laugh. But it's good that somebody like Kate is bringing this to younger people, obviously. And
it's edgy too. She's edgy. I mean, I love the anger of a lot of rock and roll. She's got that anger in her. I like that. I like that in songwriters too. The people who ain't stable, who ain't everything's all great, because everything ain't all great. So I kind of like the tortured souls and the dangerous people like John Martin and Tom Waits.
The master's work was beautiful, but it's all gone now. It's time I take a selfie, let the imitators bow. Oh, I must have missed a meeting where it was all decided. That karaoke Simon rules the world on the ride. Oh, I know you got talent.
Well, there's a lot of acts now that are saying, well, now for the next 4 years, let's say, we've got plenty to write about.
We do.
If politics or social commentary is in your bag, then hey.
Well, I did a tour at the end of last year. It was an epic tour. It was right around Germany. about 35 gigs in about 2.5 months. That was really epic. About 20 gigs in Germany, and I was just writing on. There was all this stuff happening with Brexit, with Trump, and I was just writing down all these notes. And I thought, I came back to them, and I was like, I can't use any of this. It's just so bleak. I just thought, I've got to find another way, because I'm not, no one's going to want to hear this stuff. So I've kind of come back to it all recently, and I've started rewriting again. There's certain little kind of exercises I always kind of go back to with writing that kind of rejuvenate my writing ideas. Small things like read a dictionary, things like that, and just grabbing a word you like the sound of. And I'm picking out all these words that are like, can I use that? Can I use aardvark in a song? Well, I'm not going to use aardvark. But you're just going through different words.
You might now.
I won't.
You won't never, I promise, okay.
I don't know how you'd use aardvark in a song, but I know, the sounds of words as a singer, when you can get a good sounding word. So,
something with Dylan, isn't it? Like the phrasing that Dylan uses.
Yeah.
And you think, well, why did he use that word like that? You think, I'd never have done that in a million years. But it's just what makes it brilliant, isn't it? And having your own voice as well.
It does. It's funny with talking about political songs. I did an album, Love Against Death, a few years ago, and that was all political. And I like what I did with it, but I sometimes I think with political songs, there's a danger of sounding too clunky. Yeah. Like this, because you have to sort of say what you kind of right and wrong and all the rest of it, and this is bad, this is good movement, things are going to get better, all the rest of it. But sometimes it's more interesting to be ambiguous, even if you know what you want to say. And like one of my favourite political songs is The Future by Leonard Cohen, because he's got these great stories. If I've seen the future, it is murder, but he's got this kind of really up-tempo riff, and it's really funny as well. It's got this great humour in it, but it's really dark and really funky. So there's all these kind of things going on, and I'm thinking, hang on a minute, this is quite a kind of clap-along song, but he's singing, give me Stalin and St. Paul, and I'm thinking, whoa, that's a lyric. That is really, that's controversial. But he's mixing up all these ideas, so that's the sort of writing I prefer, rather than just sort of being, there's a danger, particularly with English political songwriters, to just be like, this is the story, and and I'd rather twist it more.
Don't you get upset, make all the boys so hard, and make the girls so wet. Maybe this is all we got left, or maybe this is just a dream. I rattle my chains until I finally break and free.
Now the new album was recorded again out in Austin, Texas, with Mark Holman.
That's right, yeah.
So presumably you've just found a great style, a great studio, a great team out there. Is that why you go?
Yeah, Mark is just unbelievable. He just gets better and better. Actually, I first heard him with a songwriter called Elisa Gilkison,
who sings on the new album.
And
on Heartbreaker Telephone.
Absolutely, very well studied. She's just amazing. I love what she does, and I heard her. And then I thought, God, the production is really, really good on this. And I tracked down this guy, Mark Woolman, in his studio, Congress House. And we connected online, and he liked what I did, and we did a record, and it was a good record, and it went well. And we did the first one. I thought, I really want to go back there, because we were just getting to know each other. And it's kind of like when you kind of meeting someone, you want to show, because the songs mean so much, you sort of show a little bit of yourself, and he's a bit guarded, because he doesn't. And by the second album, we were just in the groove, and this is the fourth one, and now we don't really have to talk about anything. We just go in there and work. He's an amazing artist, as well as a great producer and a great engineer, and he does all the technical stuff that I don't understand, with all funny gadgets and whatnot. I just leave.
It's called a studio.
Yeah, when they start talking about this condenser, I just walk out of the room and look at the cars in the road, because I ain't got no. That's not really me, but he's amazing. There's a great engineer there, Andre Moran as well, who plays guitar all over the album. He's amazing too. So I found somewhere really special. I really have. I knew it was before I went. But
did you go out to the States to tour as well?
No, I don't. I've been looking into it.
It's got to be something that
it's really difficult. It's really difficult. It's going to get probably more difficult because of this guy they've elected. Probably be easier to tour North Korea, actually.
Who knows how far this travel ban will go?
I'm not Mexican, I'm not Muslim, so I might be alright. but it's very difficult because you know if you're taking money out of their economy, they don't like that. If you're putting money into the economy, they're cool with it. So if you're making a record, it's okay. But if you're playing gigs and it suddenly becomes this big, you know, it's very, very, very difficult to tour America if you're not American, which is really a real shame because I've got contacts out there. I love the music scene. I really like the people. You know, they're very misunderstood people. When you meet American people, that you know, there's such a massive country that there's every kind of a person.
Now I wondered if you tried the classic sort of Nashville thing.
No,
take your guitar, arrive in Nashville.
Yeah, that happened.
Hey, I'm from England.
That happened in maybe
Put on the Cockney, put the Cockney
You
accent
reckon that
on.
worked?
Yeah, well, you know, it's just.
I don't know who did that. You can't do that no more, really. I don't think. I mean, you can go under the radar if you want and take a risk, but you know, I wouldn't want to lose the chance to go and record in Austin. So if I was going to do it, it'd have to be legit. But it's a dream for sure, despite the fact that America's in a difficult place, you say. The whole kind of American freeway, the Kerouac, Bob Dylan, the band, that's what for me, when I started making music, I wanted to go on, you know, Route 66 and just go and play and tour and just keep going.
And tonight you've had to settle for the A40 into Oxford.
Well, I've actually first Great Western train. Actually, that was so that's even more glamorous. So the first Great Western from Paddington. It was nice.
And the mythic rock and roll dreams of America.
Yeah, no.
In this interview, come back to earth with a thud.
That's my life.
Great Western.
First Great Western. Yeah, I live my life on trains. So I'm never going to drive. I wouldn't
Well, listen, it's been great talking to you.
you.
It's my first time seeing you tonight live,
Yeah.
so I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
That was a broadcast production by Glovebox Live.uk.